All right. Okay. Welcome back to the Wilderness Podcast. How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, we are back in the place to be. Yeah, it feels good doing the show back down here, man. I like this my little favorite little place to orchestrate. Let me straighten my shirt out. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot better. Feels a lot better. But yeah, there we go. I feel better now. Anyway, check it out, man. Hey, gotta get the show lined up for you tonight. Stop hating people for loving themselves. It's very simple. It's a very simple concept. I think the world is very comfortable with being hateful, destructive, demeaning, demoralizing, and also despicable to one another. And I think it's kind of it's becoming very uncanny. But the problem is that people don't understand it. We're only defending our Black Americans. Let me walk it back a little bit. Let me just walk it back just a tad bit. The problem that I understand is loving yourself and appreciating and wanting the world to understand that you can't be expelled or extinct or dispelled from your own home, from your own damn homeland. How despicable is it for someone to be so passionate about what they have what they have contributed, but also what they don't even recognize as why they had even the opportunity to contribute. So to I'm seeing I'm extremely getting very I'm losing my patience with some people's mindset to where they believe or think that they have such a contribution when all you have to do is understand the history. Let's take a walk through history. Let's read more little let's read more Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson. More Dirty Little Secrets. Y'all, yeah, come on. Let's read with me. Let's go. More Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson. Red color was used to trick. Oh, this is gonna be a good one for you. This is a doozy. Red color was used to trick. Black people have always had a thing for the color red, which was highly symbolic historic in history. In the scriptures, red or scarlet was associated with sin. In moderate times, the color red becomes associated with sex, prostitution, in a red light district. According to Louis L. Amour, a Western fiction writer, the red light was associated with prostitution in red light district because it is in the late 1800s when train conductors visited houses of ill repute. After dark, they often left their red lamps hanging outside. Whether a person was riding or walking, the color red in red light was always signal a person to stop from its association with sin. The color red or scarlet evolved to signal danger, stop, don't go there. Red has always been associated with American farming. By the 1800s, farmers across America was painting their barns red. European farmers who traditionally painted their barns white changed when they migrated to America during slavery and began painting their barns red. Some painting merchants claim Americans painting their barns red because red paint was invented during slavery and it was cheaper than white paint. Others claim that barns were painted red because excitable and dangerous horses and bulls were housed in barns, and the color red signaled dangerous and keep out. That's completely far more logical. Let me keep reading. When all is said and done, the color red had a special significance to people of African descent. Red cloth was used to entice and capture African blacks into slavery. Esteban Motijo, an African who ran into the Cuban slave plantation in the 1800s, African who told abolitionists how white slave traders used the color red. He said slave traders carried a lot of scarlet color cloth that they used to attract and capture black Africans. Blacks were attracted to the bright red colors, hoping to get some of this red cloth. Both the kings and the black villagers came to the slave holders without even a struggle. When an African king saw white holdings and waving red handkerchiefs, they told their black people to go on and get a scarlet red handkerchief. The black tribesmen were so excited by the scarlet red that they had ran down to the ship like unwary sheep to a slave trader and their slave boats. Talk about trickery. We already talked about Lewis and Clark. You got to check that show out. But also, we got to understand other things about the reason why I'm reading this is because you got to understand we have to drift into the history of how even when covering and loving yourself, trickery has always been a way to make you feel dirty, betrayed, and also know you were defiled. You understand what I'm saying? So these elements kept people in a perpetuatory state of confusion. When you're in survival, you know how to love yourself just enough to survive, but hate yourself just enough to exist. Because you don't even understand how this is even happening in you for existing. Even breathing, walking around in your own country, mind you. Let me show you some more little dirty secrets because these are things that you have to understand how to take into a real context. You have to take these things into a real context. So he has things in this book that says a lot about what happened to Sally Hemings and General Custer's Black Mistress and Strom Thurmond's Black Offspring. Also, we're talking Black Protector of White Women. Benedict Arnold was succeeded. Not enough women. Check this out. This is a good one. Check this out. Both white and black males outnumbered white females in colonial America. The first three boatloads of Europeans to arrive in Jamestown, Virginia, had only white men on board. White women began to trickle out after 1608, but they were still few in numbers. By the 1650s, the ratio of male to female immigrants was 3-1. Women were in such short supply of colonial, especially in North Carolina and South Carolina, that the established government ships and boatloads of female prostitutes to encourage white men to exercise privileges with any and all available women. Additionally, the government encouraged white males to marry Indian women, but outlawed marriage between white men and black women. White men circumvented these laws and routinely keeping black women as mistresses and concubines. These men did not perceive black women as a threat to the white male power structure. Although Indians were classified as non-whites, they held a special place in the white psyche. White male increasingly identified Indian blood and culture, especially since Indian wives were legally acceptable. Intermarrying between Indian and whites was so common after the turn the century that black and dark brown Indians became progressively whiter in skin. White men taking Indian wives grew so numerous that the law of supply of the demands increased in pricing and marriage licenses in some Indian tribes are higher than 1,000. The price of marriage licenses for an Indian female, which nearly the price of an attractive black female slave for $1,000. A white male could either get an Indian wife or buy a black female slave and concubine. The chastity belt for black males. Social myths had historically and untruthfully portrayed black males as oversexed. Had it been true, it had been the only thing that black men were over. Both free and enslaved black men had narrow options of marrying and sexual partners. Laws, public policies, and social customs made it a capital offense for black men to sexually approach or propose marriage to white women. Black men were restricted to black women, and bonded blacks had to have the approval of white authority. The government even disavowed Indians from marrying, unifying with the accepting blacks into their tribes and territory. Under the American Revolutionary War stated, black male slaves outnumber female slaves nearly 3 times to one. Black female slaves increased in numbers after the United States Congress ratified the U.S. Constitution to prohibit an important importation of slaves after 1807. The constitutional prohibition opened the door to breeding slaves in Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and North Carolina. Slave breeding increased the value of female slaves. A few creative traders even began selling female slaves by the pound. In such instances, fat was good in both business and in the bedroom. So, amongst all of these things, the betrayals, the separations, the codified system of being able to sexually abuse and take and be destructive to women was written into law for white males. But let's pivot and understand the inventors, the black women inventors, and how, the Aboriginal women and the inventors of this land, because, languages, but you have to read between the lines of what I'm allowing you to understand and how the distinction of how they was able to classify people, and that's how it operated in the means of sex. So keep listening. Check this out. Despite the barriers of racism and gender, black women invented and patented numerous useful commercial products. It is a twist of fate that the documentations exist at all because of centuries of public and private records indicating a race or a gender of inventors. However, even incomplete government records show some of the accomplishments of black women inventors. Sarah E. Good was one of the first black women inventors to receive a patent. She invented the folding cabinet bed in 1885. Ellen F. Eglin invented the clothes wringer in 1890. In 1888, Miriam E. Benjamin invented going single system, a gong signal system. that the United States House of Representatives adopted to summon pages. Sarah Boone, Claytonia Dacticus, Alice Parker, Achera Rose, Jane Wright were other black women who held government approval patents. Some of their inventions included photographic, well, the product was photographic, a print wash, a hose leak stop, an ironing board, suspenders, which were trouser supporters. The, the amount of money and recognition to these black women received for these various patents and inventions are unknown. So this is just extremely important for you to understand the power of knowing how to have the ingenuity that was taken over and industrialized by people of other likenesses, but they came to the Americas to capitalize. Just as simple as that. Let's take an off-Broadway spy. Josephine Baker was a popular black entertainer who became a spy and a hero for the Allies during World War II. Miss Josephine Baker was born in June 1906 in St. Louis, Missouri. By the time she was 16, Josephine was a popular entertainer recognized for her dancing and singing talents. Black musicians Noble, Cicely, and UB Black were so impressed with her talents that they introduced her to the national American audience when they featured her in Broadway in 1921. Shuffle Along, introducing new kinds of black dancing, singing chorus lines, and revolutionizing Broadway musicals and theater. White entertainers. The white entertainment industry responded to, hold on, the white the white entertainment industry responded as it has throughout history. It quickly begun emulating again black entertainers while using political and economic power to force them out of Broadway musicals. Rather than fighting racism within the American entertainment industry, Josephine Baker formed her own trope. As so many black entertainers did, they moved to Europe, where they felt they would be respected and appreciated. Miss Baker guessed right. Europeans were dazzled by black musicians, singers, and dancers. Josephine Baker became the hit of the European continent for the next 20 years. Her follies, baguettes were her popular at the Casino de Paris, as she chose to make Paris her home. When the Germans invaded France in the 1940s, they too were so attracted to Josephine Baker and her black troupe, and they allowed her to shows and to continue in Germany in military occupations. The highest ranking officers in the army regularly attended her shows and socialized with her. They never realized that Josephine Baker would gather secret information from them and convey to the American and to the European Allied forces through the French underground. After the World War II, Josephine Baker was indicted in the French Legion in honor of her work as a spy. She died on April 15, 1975, from her cerebral hemorrhages. In Paris, France, Baker risked her life for America, as well as for France. However, only France honored and expressed its love for her. But she was born in St. Louis, Missouri. There you have it. So shout outs to the Honorable Great Josephine Baker, a foundation of Black American Indian woman that was magical. I even have a poster of her up in my office. I got to show you that one day. But yeah, she was an absolute phenom in so many different types of ways and variations. She was that. There's so many women that were so valiant and so so powerful and wonderful in their own right, simply because they had the gumption and the fortitude, the intelligence, the swagger, and they also had that charm. when you charm certain men, you can do anything to them because they blind. They blind about your beauty, your sex appeal, what you can offer them in their minds. So you can just swipe away. That's how it goes with some thirsty guys. But for real, let's get to the next moment. I hope you enjoyed that segment, and I hope you got some education about the great Miss Josephine Baker. Let's get to the next moment. Do you know what hate is? See, hate is a very powerful, atrocious tool because it is so seen due to the shown idiocracy, mediocrity, the jealousy, the intense there's an intense like it's a lot of admiration, but at the same time it's a lot of adversity, uh, and it's a lot of vigor. For what reason? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand why people would prefer to, behave in those manners and the way they would like to even halfway, feel like that's the proper way of orchestrating themselves into a way of bettering themselves. You can't do that by or achieve that by cutting people down and distributing false tropes, being demeaning. You have to pick yourself up by honoring yourself, by loving yourself, because people will do what they're gonna do. They're gonna be hateful. They're gonna be despicable. They're gonna despise. But that's what has to give you the ability to move past it, because it's the status quo these days. People don't like truth. I hope you do. I hope you understand and love those. You know, we're moving into a very artificial age, but even the artificial age is telling you reaching back and how to even create itself through truth. You understand that AI was created by black inventors, right? I hope you understand that. That's why they have to reach back to the actual DNA of its inception, understanding what? What is the truth? We have to get back to the what? The root. As above, so below. The root. Stardust, baby. Let's go. Let's get to the next moment. Do you realize your current status? Do you realize your current status? Do you? Do you realize what your current status actually, what it actually, what it entails? Are you aware of your status of being? You know, see, a lot of people have a multitude of characteristics, statistics, stats, and have a lot of different hats. You see what I'm saying? So they wear a lot of different characteristics. So a person that understands where they are currently, they understand their status. That's what it's about. If you think anything is wrong with having status, you're sadly mistaken, because that's what everyone needs. Status. You need status. You need and it doesn't have to be like uh, famous, or it doesn't have to be you know infamous either. It could be a status of respect, preferably a status of being an encourager, being a challenger, being a person that someone can approach and say, man, I would like to have a conversation. Is that cool? But it has to be with respect. It can't be with, you're, I'm going to see through you. Let's just say that much. I'm going to see through your bullshit right through you. So let's get to the next moment, y'all. All right, we have okay. How you check yourself? Yeah. A lot of times, this is, a lot of times people like checking other people. They like, looking down on people or pointing out a dislike or something that's just disfavorable. They got to find something that's just, and I got to find something I don't like about you. It happens to me all the time. But it's fine. That comes with the territory of being a person that is always on a path of development, understanding, learning. I don't try to put myself above others. I like to understand where I am, where I'm at, where I'm at in life, where I am presently. So if you practice that, it keeps you from ever being disoriented or distorted. You always have a mind to think forward. That's what it's all about in the first place. Like if you're thinking and you're trying to formulate something, just think about what would happen in the future when you do what you're doing. That would give you a clear, mostly clear, concise directional path of what to do, what to embrace, and what to leave out. Because you don't want nothing, no attribute to distort or hinder your path forward. You want success, so you want to keep the hindrances to a minimum. If you catch my drift, let's get to the next foot moment. Shit, because people be hating anyway. Who gives a shit? Stop checking on people. Yeah, but to get back to stop checking other people and checking yourself. Uh, you got to really think about that shit, right? Stop checking other people and check your damn self. A lot of people, it was a song back in the day. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself because it's bad for your health. I come like, Dave, Ice Cube, dropping bombs on your mind. I'm just saying, you got to check yourself because if somebody check you, I promise you it's not going to be a good look for you because it's going to get ugly, especially when you have a deflated or very, not deflated, but you got a very inflated ego. Like you just like that, So best believe that time coming because when you disassociate yourself or granulize yourself big enough for what you are, you're taking up too much space and you're not leaving yourself any time to develop. You know what I'm saying? So always, think about the future and what in your endeavors and how you want to get down because some people can give you a fast track, but it may be the fast track to a place of shit. Some place you don't want to you don't even go, you don't even deal with. So let me get to the last book moment. Oh yeah, I know this one. Yeah, I made sure. It's called, always be in a position where you can say checkmate. Always put yourself in a position where you can say, checkmate. I'm good. I'm done. I've learned what I need to move on. You know, those are very strong characteristics that you must practice because if you don't, you'll always find yourself on the losing end of the equation, not moving forward because you'll get caught up in a challenging situation that if you don't have the power um, to 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 pivot, you'll be in a position of destitution. But check it out, man. Stop hating people for loving themselves. Focus on yourself so that you can put yourself in a position of valiant love as well. Look at Josephine Baker. All that work, all that duty. But you see who appreciated her and you see who act like, meh. Where's Marilyn Monroe? That's what their focus was on. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand, man. This country, we built. has always had an adversary. That adversary has always been white supremacy. But nevertheless, we don't get caught up in other people and how they do what they do. But they're always caught up into us. They're always caught up into us. It's second nature at this point. You love us, but you goddamn, you gotta stop hating on us so much. We see it all. We understand you. If you understood us better, you wouldn't be so hateful. That's the show tonight. I love you guys. I appreciate you again, YouTube. Um, I got to get to some chores, duties, things I got to do. I got to do some back office work too. So you guys, make sure you share, love, like, and appreciate the show. Share it. The Wheelers Podcast on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, I'm everywhere, but I need y'all to fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep watching the shows. Watch the long version of the shows. Also, go to thewillerspodcast.com and check out some merch. You know what I'm saying? This ain't it, but I got some nice stuff. I'm always ordering my stuff. I don't even buy other new clothes. This is all old. This is all, you know what I'm saying? Some people say, hey, let those. Don't give a shit. It's all right. You hold up. You know, it's just it's different. You know, it's okay to dare to be different and be confident. Just try it. You should try it sometimes. It works. It works. It works. Yeah, so, all right, that's the show tonight. I love you guys and understand this. Because you know this is my favorite part of the show. The wheel is yours. Don't ever forget that shit. And be solid with it. Be easy, my lovely people. We love you guys. Peace.